Hey guys, it's Adam, aka Chef Kaz, aka Professor Viajanti, depending on when and where you're talking to me. And today I just wanted to talk a little bit about one of the things that I think is so important to not just success, but really just showing up as your best self as much as possible, even on those days when things don't seem to be going your way or super smoothly, or you just have chaos come up. It happens to all of us, right? And the thing that I realized is best practices and just having standards of what works, what I know works best for me is so important. I just think of it as the basics, getting back to the basics. So this can be in any area of your life. This can be in your mood and your mental state. This can be in your physical health or fitness. This can be in your relationships. It really doesn't matter what area. So I have a few best practices that I know that I do these things regularly. Everything else seems to go more smoothly. For example, meditation. I start pretty much every day, 98% of days, with 10 minutes of meditation. It's one of the first few things that I do when I wake up in the morning, other than maybe brush my teeth and use the restroom, right? I sit down. I haven't even put on my phone yet. My phone's in airplane mode, so I can take notes or listen to music if I want to, but I don't have it in new information coming in. And that in itself is another best practice, is just not having distractions and information and business and work and all these things coming in first thing in my day. So meditation for me is a definite best practice. Food, nutrition, for me, starting my day off with liquids. I have a few different powders I drink in the morning, certainly my coffee, but I make sure that those things go into me first before anything else, because I know if I don't do that, I'll eat something that maybe is going to make me feel tired or sluggish right off the bat. And this is easy to remember when you're in the habit and the routine and you're doing these things regularly, but it can be much harder when you are in the throes of chaos, when things aren't in sorts, things are out of sorts, or you're traveling, or something in your environment changes, or you have a stressful work week, or something last minute comes up, work or somebody visiting. It's so important just to maintain these practices. So what I encourage you to do is have a list. It doesn't have to be 40 things. It can be 5, it can be 3, it can be 10. But have a list of what are my morning best practices? What are my morning things? When I do these things, I know I'm going to feel better. Okay, I meditate. Okay, I have my powders. Okay, I do go outside before I've even thought about anything, and I get on my foam roller, just to get a little bit of that extra edge off right off the bat. Okay, then once I've got those things done, then I'm going to sit down at my computer and digest my emails, see what I have to deal with that day, see what I have to focus that day. What about in the middle of the day? Middle of the day might be a little nap, or I know if I eat at this time, I'm gonna feel better than if I eat too early or if I wait too long. For me, I teach capoeira at 5:30 tonight. I know that if I want to be properly digested, but also not hungry in the middle or right after class, I better eat around 1 or 2 o'clock. And again, it doesn't have to be super structured and super specific, but just having a general range, a general idea. If I do this around this time, I'm going to feel this way. If I don't do this, I'm going to feel this way. Being able to identify those things, being able to connect those things is super important to actually doing them, right? If I know that, if I meditate first thing in the morning, I'm clearer headed in the afternoon, and I make that association, then I'm much more likely to do it, especially the days when I don't do it and I say, oh, I'm so frustrated, I'm so agitated. Why am I so agitated? Oh, I didn't meditate. Okay, I made that connection. I understand the cause and effect relationship. That reinforces it for me. That makes, for me, it makes it much more likely that I'm actually going to follow through. And then having your best practices in the evening, winding down an hour before I want to go to bed, not watching any television that's overly stimulating or violent, right before I go to sleep, because then I'm going to have that's going to be in my dreams somehow. Making sure I take my supplements before I go to sleep. And this might seem super basic, but that's the point, right? Sometimes we just have to focus on the basics, focus on what we know works. And then there's other times for trying out new things, experimentation, changing up the routine. But I encourage you not to try to switch out something that works for something that's unknown unless you're just in that mode. Maybe that's a good thing to do on your weekend or on a day off or on a Sunday, or when you don't have too much craziness and chaos around you. And there's opportunities, there's times and places for everything, but I think that the basics, there's no bad time for the basics. In martial arts and capoeira, it's really important for me to stress the basics, the fundamentals, because that's what everything else is built upon. And I think it's the same way in our day-to-day, routines in our lives, that if we put those basic pieces in place, the building blocks, we can build on top of them. But if we don't, it's very hard to push the envelope. It's very hard to take things further. It's very hard to max out our potential. So those are my thoughts for you guys on focusing on the basics and knowing your best practices. I encourage you to write them down if you need to, print it out, laminate it. You can make a checklist. I put it in my notes. I put it in my phone, in my reminders, on my calendar, so that I'm sure I keep seeing those things. I'm getting those reminders instead of getting all the junk reminders about stuff I need to buy and, people trying to sell me stuff and things that are taking up my attention that really don't serve me very much. So, that would be my suggestion. If you have any thoughts, comments, questions, feel free to message me, chefkaz@chefkaz.com. You guys can leave comments here. Subscribe to the channel. Be interactive. I want to hear from you. I want to know what are some of your best practices. What are the things that when you do them, you feel better. You're in a better mindset. You're more productive. You're happier. You're in a better mood. More pleasant to be around. Being making more of an impact on this planet, for the people around you. So thank you very much for watching. I appreciate it. I'll be back to you guys soon with more content, more awesomeness for you to devour and download into your brain. And yeah, that's all I got. Blah blam, Kaz out.